In my experience, there really is no other place on earth that does fandom quite like Japan. Especially here in Tokyo, it's kinda impossible to go out into the city and not see a bunch of famous characters from famous Japanese IPs, old and new, posted up pretty much everywhere that you go. And whether it's a giant billboard advertising something, or an official store, or even a food product, their celebration of their characters and their franchises really does know no bounds. Evidently, as I get ready to start my day by drinking this lovely looking official Godzilla energy drink, and being somebody that's such a big fan of Japanese pop culture, obviously I can't get enough of it, and it's just one of the many things that keeps drawing me back to this city time and time again. Tastes like giant lizards and radiation. Kanpai! So for the last few weeks, I've been leaning heavily into the toy hunting side of things here on Slimehouse TV, trying to give people a real sense of what the scene is like in Tokyo for retro toy and sofubi collectors, and how much it's changed in the 7 years since I was last here. And I have got some more of that dropping later on in this series, but Japan isn't just the world's #1 hotspot for old and designer toys, it's pretty much the epicenter of the toy world in general. And while you'll obviously want to be hitting up places like Mandarake if you're after something truly old or specifically obscure, newer and more modern day versions of big hitter franchises like Ultraman, Kamen Rider and Godzilla can be found everywhere, and I mean everywhere, on toy racks and shelves all over Tokyo, basically staring at you from every possible direction, like you really don't have to look far here to find cool toys and merchandise. And if it's a well-known brand, like a franchise that's a household name, there's more than likely at least one official store dedicated to it. Places where the toys and merchandise are presented and showcased with that over-the-top flair and attention that nowhere else does quite like Japan. And so in today's video, I want to show you a few really cool examples of what I've seen personally while filming this brand new Slimehouse TV exclusive Japanese miniseries, the official stores, what toys and merchandise are available at these places, the way that these brands are flaunted, how the technology behind the toys is celebrated, and also how things go down at a big Tokyo toy show. So if all that sounds like a bit of you, then as always, kick back, make sure you're comfy, and koreo yaro. Let's do this. Now, something that you might hear me bring up a lot in my videos is Kamen Rider, but I'm also aware that there might be a lot of people that aren't fully familiar with what it even is, because although Kamen Rider is huge in Japan, in the Western world, it's not something that we've ever really been introduced to. Not properly anyway, not really, but over here in Japan it's everywhere. So Kamen Rider is one of the longest running live action TV shows here, and because it's a franchise that means so much to so many people across so many different generations, of course it's got its own official store right here in Tokyo. Now, from what I understand, they do have different Kamen Rider shops that pop up now and then, and they do move around, but the current main one, the one that I visited on this trip, is actually inside a kind of mall complex with a bunch of other similar shops inside Tokyo's Ichibanagi train station. Now, like most of these kind of places, it sells a range of toys, merchandise and random fun household bits, all designed with branding and logos and artwork, all themed around the world of Kamen Rider. So you can buy everything from action figures to Kamen Rider black coffee. In terms of toys that you can buy here though, it is pretty limited, selling only figures from the latest Kamen Rider Z show and only the cheap Bandai soft vinyl range figures, which as you'll see is a big theme across all the official stores like this. Also, compared to some of the other official shops, this Kamen Rider one is kinda basic, a lot smaller than some of the others that you're gonna see in this video, but like I said, this one is just inside a train station, right next to actually another official store for another very popular TV show that if you love Kamen Rider, you probably appreciate loads as well. So another big hitter in the world of live action special effects heavy Japanese tele is Ultraman, which is basically the Tokusatsu TV OG show, so it's only fitting that there's a couple of official shops dedicated to it in Tokyo, and I think I've been to all of them now over the years and covered them on the channel. This one though, like I said, is quite handily just around the corner from the Kamen Rider store, and in my experience has a much more varied range of stuff on offer, both toys and the random fun merchandise as well. What I also really like about this stuff is that it's not always just something that's made and then they've printed Ultraman onto it. It's actually created from the start with the Ultraman branding at the forefront of the design. This merch does constantly switch up as well, and these shops have different stuff in them every time that I've been over the years, which to me shows that they're not always just trying to recycle the same thing for the sake of it. One thing that they do always have here though are the classic cheap Bandai vinyl figures, but unlike the Kamen Rider store here, they have a much wider range of Ultraman and bad guys for sale, featuring characters from all the different generations of the TV show, so no matter what, chances are you'll always be able to find your favourite Ultraman here and your favourite bad guy kaiju. Now these figures are available all over Japan, not just in these official stores, and you can find them cheaper, but they do literally cost like $5 each. So not only are they inexpensive, but I always feel like there's something really nice about buying a figure directly from the official store itself. Now I talked a little bit about this place in my previous episode because me and Retro Ghetto went there while we were toy hunting in the area, but this is Shibuya's Parco building, a big shopping complex that's home to a bunch of official stores / centres for brands like Nintendo, Capcom and Sega, as well as a bunch of other stuff, and it's an awesome place to check out if you're into your gaming. And if it's not the giant statues of all the legendary game characters here, it's the exclusive merch, the toys, the vibes, and even just the lighting and the way that the shops are fitted and laid out that make them feel like a truly unique experience, in a way that nowhere in my opinion curates and captures quite like Japan. And I'm sure if you're a fan of Street Fighter, or Zelda, or Monster Hunter, something else that you see a lot of stuff for here, then you'd no doubt be able to snap some good photos for your Instagram, or bag yourself a cool exclusive memento for your collection. Oh, Callum's in his element. There's also a whole JoJo area, a shop for Shonen Jump characters. There's a whole fashion area with clothes inspired by Evangelion and FromSoft, and as you can see, all of them are put together in a way that showcases them in the biggest, best and most fun way possible. Parco Shibuya is also home to one of 3 official Godzilla stores in Tokyo as well, or at least one of 3 that I visited while I was here, each with their own vibe, their own different merchandise, and their own giant Godzilla statue.
Getting hyped. Oh! There he is, the guy. Probably my first introduction to Japanese pop culture as well, as a little kid all them years ago watching Toho VHS.
Now I am going to show you the other Godzilla statues as well, but this one here, out of all of them, is the only one that's got a cool light up feature, a burning Godzilla, Godzilla vs Destroyer style. And these stores do sell a range of different franchise related products with way more stuff on offer than what you'd find in places like the Kamen Rider and the Ultraman store, and with everything curated around the big man himself and his kaiju friends and enemies. And again, unlike some places that try and concentrate more on the latest iteration of the character, the Godzilla store shows love to all the different variations that we've seen over the years. The Showa era, the Heisei, Millennium, current Reiwa era, all of it. Now although this is a really cool Godzilla store, like I said, this is not the only one, and to show you my favourite, we've got to take a trip over to another really lively part of Tokyo, the district of Shinjuku. So Shinjuku is home to not only the main flagship Godzilla store, but also the Godzilla Hotel and Toho Cinema, which if you're an OG Slimehouse viewer, you'll know that I documented in one of my Tokyo trips from years ago. And I did also cover the Godzilla store back then as well, but this time I wanted to go back, see what had changed, how the stock had switched up, and also of course what toys they had on offer. So as you can see, this place has got a ton of really fun stuff. T-shirts, socks, plushies, stationery, all that good stuff, and loads of fun bits that you can only find here in Japan. And in terms of the toys, the reason that most of us are here, this place has a real good mix. First of all, it's got a bunch of the classic cheaper vinyl Bandai figures, all of the usual suspects, Hedorah, Ghidorah, Megalon, all the gang. What's also dope about these cheaper Bandai figures as well is that they are made in the traditional sofubi style, so although they're not independent sofubi or designer soft vinyl or anything like that, they are still technically sofubi, and because they're so inexpensive, I always feel that they're a great entry level toy for anybody wanting to kickstart their sofubi collection or just have a little something to represent. And I also think that because these are just genuinely good toys, if you're somebody that prefers more high-end figures or more detailed sculpts, you're still not going to deny that the styles and the designs and the proportions of these figures are not bang on for the price point, and whether you're wanting to get one for your kid or your own collection, you couldn't really ask for a better looking Toho Kaiju figure on a budget. So the Bandais were cool, but they weren't the only figures on offer. They had a bunch of other really good ones as well, including these Godzilla burst figures that they were really pushing this time that I were there. And I thought these were awesome, not only for the 90s style colour schemes that some of them were produced in, but also the wicked old school style action figure advert that they were using to promote them as well. Now in terms of this store's Godzilla statue, they were rocking the Godzilla -1 version, which I think most people will agree, whether you're a fan of new Godzilla, old Godzilla, all of it, Godzilla -1 is just a dope movie and features one of the coolest looking Godzilla designs that's ever been put on film. And with Godzilla -1 being such a big movie, it feels really cool to have that version almost guarding the shop, representing the old and the new together in a place that's such a perfect celebration of probably the most famous Japanese film franchise of all time, situated right here in Shinjuku, right in the heart of Tokyo. So I really like this shop, not only because it's got a great selection of high-end and lower-end items, but also because of how much of a crazy variation of Godzilla-themed merchandise that they've got available. I mean, where else are you going to get Bentley's a Godzilla costume for his little chihuahua? As I spoke about, there is also a third official Godzilla store in Tokyo, one that's got a giant Shin Godzilla in it, easily the most gnarly looking and acting Godzilla of all time. And this shop is really good and features a lot of the same stuff in it that the other stores do, with a few exceptions, and out of all three official Godzilla stores is probably the second largest. Now this one, like the others, is part of a bigger complex, this time being located inside the Diver City Plaza Mall in Odaiba, a place which might sound familiar because it's also the home to the official Gundam base, a place that I am absolutely going to be covering in much more detail in a future video in this series. So if you like the sound of that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit that bell notification so that you don't miss it. Now so far, a lot of the toys that I've showed you in this video have had a couple of things in common. Most of them were pretty cheap, and most of them were made primarily as kids' toys. The next stuff that I'm going to be showing you though are all very much created for the adult collector and the adult market, and for that, we need to take a trip all the way back to Akihabara. So this right here is the official store / showroom of Tamashii Nations, which is basically the umbrella of what all Bandai Namco's premium range of action figures come under. So SH Figure Arts, Robot Spirits, etc. All their high-end adult collectibles, and this is where all the new and upcoming releases are displayed. And as you can see, as far as toys are concerned, this whole showroom is looking kinda bougie. So the brands that they've got here on display are all the classics under the Bandai Namco banner. So you've got Evangelion, Gundam, Dragon Ball Z, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, too many to mention. And as you can probably tell, compared to some of the vintage and the more retro looking figures that you're normally used to seeing here on the channel, these ones have a totally different vibe with tons of articulation, super slick paint jobs, and although they're not something that I tend to collect personally, obviously I can really appreciate just how perfect they all look. It's not even all just slick modern day figures that they've got either though, and it was these here that were definitely the standout pieces for me. Now, as you may have heard me mention in my other videos, I'm a big fan of Jumbo Machinda robots. The vintage ones though are usually priced really high now, especially in good condition and with all their accessories. So what Bandai have been doing is basically reproducing them. Starting off slow, there's only like 4 out at the minute, but I think they look really nice. It seems like they've used exact scans of the originals. I might be wrong, but that's what it looks like. And with the vintage ones being so high priced these days, I'm definitely considering getting involved with these at some point, because yeah, I think they look awesome. Now this Tamashii Nations store is located right by Akihabara Station, and I thought this was the best way to see all this stuff, like it didn't get any better than this. But boy was I wrong, because a few days later I was walking through the main strip of Akihabara, just calling into Don Quixote because I had to pick up some supplies, when I randomly and totally unexpectedly stumbled across something that honestly I weren't even ready for. So I always try and keep my ear to the ground whenever I'm in Japan to find out if there's anything cool happening, any events that I should be checking out, etc. And I've got no idea how this passed me, but I'm so glad that I just managed to be in the right place at the right time on the right day, because as you can see, this place was absolutely popping. Now, as you can probably see for yourself, this place was incredible, and whatever I thought was impressive about the Tamashii Nations main showroom, what they'd put together here with this event took it to a next level. I mean, it didn't help that I were completely caught off guard, having no idea that this were happening and then all of a sudden being surrounded by it, but obviously it all looked incredible. I was so impressed with what I was seeing everywhere, so obviously I got my cameras out and I started rolling.
So I just called into Akihabara because I needed to pick something up, and I've just stumbled across a Tamashii Nations 2025 event that I didn't even know were going down. Just further proof that you can't go anywhere here in Tokyo without running into toys. No complaints from me. Oh, Astrobot, I love this.
Now, it was so cool to see the Astrobot stuff. Big fan of this game series, absolutely love this character, and even one that I considered making my own toy of before. So it were really good to see how fresh and slick these new official ones were looking. Another thing that I'm a big fan of is kalbi fries. Like, if you've been to Japan, then you know. So it was really dope to see that they not only had a giant kalbi fries tub on display, because I'd have thought that were cool anyway, but it was also a display cabinet showing off a brand new transforming collaboration toy that they've created with Bandai as part of their classic robot Shogakin line. One of the things that I also noticed as well is just how much of a good time everyone was having. This was an event sold that was full of people who all love this stuff, all taking snaps of it and videoing it and enjoying it, and because I'm somebody that normally moves in the vintage toy world, or the designer and independent art toy world, it were really cool to be able to experience something so different. What I also noticed as well is how they didn't just showcase the figures, but also the articulation rigs and the posability of them, even offering people the opportunity to play with the figures and test out the articulation systems in person, which obviously, being a toy maker myself, was something that I thought were really awesome to see. Now at this point I thought I'd seen everything, I thought that were it, which was kinda a good thing for me because like every day in Tokyo, I didn't really have much free time. My day was already spoken for and I had somewhere very important to be very shortly, so I had to start getting a move on soon. Unfortunately though, or fortunately obviously because it was awesome, I went into another room that was attached to the same building, and that's when I was greeted by all of this. So yeah, it kind of felt like upstairs was literally just the warm-up for what they had waiting in this other area, which as you can imagine, being a fan of Ultraman and Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and just all classic Japanese tokusatsu in general, was literally like the best thing ever.
I don't believe it, I just stumbled on a whole other bit in a different building. Not only is there so many amazing new toys on display, but there's original Kamen Rider Kuga suits, there's original Ultraman suits. I can't even tell you how insane this is, and the fact that I just stumbled upon it randomly while I was walking past, wow.
One of the things that I really wanted to see on this trip to Tokyo was some legit tokusatsu suits, and I was kind of thinking that I probably weren't going to get a chance this time, so running into these was incredible, especially being able to see them so close like this.
I can't even tell you how incredible this is. being such a fan of tokusatsu and giant kaiju movies, and just again reinforcing what I keep saying about how nobody celebrates their IPs and their franchises like Japan does. Wow.
And obviously, being a big tokusatsu fan, it was so dope to be able to pretty much see every single Kamen Rider, Ultraman and Super Sentai ever all displayed together, almost like some kind of giant museum just celebrating the genre. And because these are all produced under the Bandai Spirits premium range, they're all made so beautifully with so much care, and in many ways are considered the definitive versions of these characters in action figure form. And it weren't just Sentai and Metal Heroes that were on display either. There were also a whole Godzilla section, and although it were cool to see the Godzilla figures, it wasn't even the Godzilla toys that stole the show. Not for me anyway.
I don't believe it. I could cry. They've got one of the original suits from Godzilla Final Wars. I cannot tell you how many times I watched this movie growing up, and they've just got one of the original suit actors' Godzilla suits right here for us to look at. I am totally blown away. Oh.
And I mean, come on, it don't get much better than that, does it? An actual Godzilla costume right there, all casual, just chilling. And like I keep saying, because I didn't have any idea that this thing was on, I can't explain just how much of a treat this was and how much of a surprise.
It's just there. It's just there. I can't tell you how many life-changing moments I've had recently, going to Switzerland and seeing all the movie props there and stuff. And one of the things that I really wanted to see while I was here was some original Kamen Rider suits and Godzilla props and stuff. And I didn't really get the opportunity to do it. And then now I've found this place and I couldn't be happier. And I just wish I could stay longer. I've got so much to do today, but I could spend hours and hours and hours in this place. What is that?
So I think it's pretty clear that when it comes to toys, shops that sell toys, official branded centres for Japanese franchises, and toy shows and expos, then nobody does it quite like Japan. It seems that no other culture celebrates this stuff quite so authentically, and it genuinely feels that whoever the people are behind these places and these companies and these events are just as much a fan of this stuff as the people that flaunt to them. And it's that love and that attention to detail that keeps drawing me back to this place year after year. At the start of this episode, I wanted to try and show you what I see when I travel to Japan, and what kind of scale we're talking about when I say nobody celebrates the franchises like the Japanese do, and hopefully I've been able to get that across a little bit in this video. So I'd love to know what you thought of this episode today, if you saw anything that you thought were cool in them shops that you would have had to pick up, and also what you thought of the toy show. Would you have been as blown away as I was? I'd also really love to know what you think of this series so far. Are you enjoying it? Are you looking forward to seeing what's next? We're not even halfway through it yet either, so if you're having a good time with it, then make sure you stay tuned, because there's so much more Slimehouse TV in Tokyo yet to come. If you want to help support projects like this, then I do have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/SlimehouseTV. And if you fancy rocking any Slimehouse merchandise, then I do have a fourth wall store attached to my main page here on YouTube, where you can find a bunch of different pieces that I've designed personally, including the hat that I've been wearing throughout this video series. Now, like I said, straight after leaving this event, I did go off and do some more epic stuff, so I really can't wait to show you what went down there, and I really hope to catch you in the next video as we continue this Slimehouse TV Tokyo toy adventure. So until then, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I'm gone. Ayasumanasai. Pow!